Well, hello there. My name is HW.
Hey, I'm the Suze.
And this is
I got 18 strings with me today.
18 strings of goodness. And this, right here, what's this guy? That is,
A box of Kemper Glory.
along with some English breakfast tea.
Hey.
First impressions, we're looking at the, look at this thing. Is this video number 6 and we finally have one?
We finally got one.
We
number
finally
6.
got one.
It's okay. People will be fine.
But there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. And so I wanted to run through what we're seeing and how I'm going to use this thing. I haven't seen a video really showing what it's like to have this thing in your hands. So Here's the unit. Here's the software. And look at this thing. First impressions, here's what I noticed. First of all, I cleared everything off of here. It comes with a bunch of great stuff. And but I cleared everything off. And I wanted to start like building my own sounds, right?
Okay.
And so I put on this Samson BC H130. And I put on some of these sounds, and they sound good. One, to show that you can get a bunch of sounds here. But here's a couple things I noticed. This unit, it's almost like it's running in performance mode all the time. And I say that because see how there actually is this crunch default in every single slot? That's actually how performance mode runs.
All right.
But you can't load performances on here.
Like all 5 at
Yeah,
once.
you can't dump a performance.
Yeah.
What you have to do is bring in a rig, which is like like from the browser area, like local library.
Yeah.
And I already got some emails from some people going, HW, my new Eddie Van Halen pack, the EVH pack, the Eddie pack inspired by Eddie, it doesn't work on this. This just didn't even exist when we had that pack. I have a very easy solution. Any performance you have, there's a button that says export to rig pool, and you can export the rigs in any performance.
Yeah, slots 1 through 5.
Yeah, you can just export all of them, and then you could just dump them right in here.
Yeah, each one would be its own profile.
And they would work.
Yeah.
But the way this operates, it's sort of like, it almost feels like a little Kemper, and it's running in like a hybrid form. It's kind of like it's in profiler mode, but it only takes rigs like browser mode.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like its own thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in like a new rig, right? Here's a Dumble. So I'm going to bring this in, Susan. I think this will sound good, but let me show you how we bring this in. I'm just going to dump a rig that I just pulled from a little window over here, right here, right? And yes, I want to override it. I also could come right in here and I could grab an AC44 and I could get that and I can copy it and bing, bang, boom, I can put it right here. I can paste it. So that's 2 ways you can sort of bring something in here.
Okay.
And honestly, this just works just like performance mode, if you're familiar with performance mode. But here's what's interesting. Those have effects, and not all of them are in here. It looks like when the effect is there, when one of the effects, this is my slot A, this is, I guess this was slot B?
In the original.
In the original, yeah.
Okay.
Then this is delay and this is verb. So it seems to be grabbing the delay and verb, but my reverb that I had in this profile originally is a natural verb.
Okay.
And this is the easy reverb. Well, the easy reverb is the natural reverb, but some of the parameters are taken away. So we don't have the natural verb, but we have the easy verb, which is like a simplified version of the natural verb.
Okay, it should sound pretty close without...
Yeah, and the easy reverb is in the big Kemper too.
Yeah.
It's just its own. But according to the Kemper manual, it's the natural verb with like some, I don't know, some
More
parameter
controls.
already taken away or something.
Okay.
Less control.
Or left for the easy.
And so it seems to be translating my parameters from the natural verb to the easy reverb.
That's cool.
But the delays, it's leaving blank. Green scream, it's bringing it in. And I had it off. That's my green scream setting. Here's my tone junkie compressor settings. I use this all the time. I recognize those.
Yeah.
So it seems to be bringing in A and B when it can, and it seems to be bringing in delay and reverb when it can.
So if you had used a legacy delay on that,
it would bring it. I believe it would bring it in because it's bringing in everything else that's compatible.
Okay. So it just said you gotta go find a new delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So play this. See how this sounds. Okay, cool. So in here, I've got my single delay and the 2-tap delay and the legacy delay. And so I'll pull up, we can just do like a Here we go. This one's called Bad Tape. Why not?
That is bad.
So it's kind of the same tone we love. I mean, look at everything we get in here. These are very familiar parameters.
Yep.
Earlier, I was able to dial up this 2-tap to sound pretty good, just how I kind of want it.
And this would be your option for like a dual delay type thing.
Yes.
Without the...
Yes, exactly. And so I can easily set this up the way I would normally kind of set up something like this. And it's pretty easy, actually, to get a pretty good sound like we've kind of come to know. Try this, Suze. So you can get some sounds. Look, I'll turn this back. I'll turn the compressor back on. We'll do a little green scream. Try that.
There's so many switches over here. I think that's what I want. Okay.
There you go. So at first glance, like my first impression of this unit, it feels like a little Kemper hybrid.
Yeah.
Kind of in browser mode, kind of in performance mode. I feel like I've got what I need to build some great tones.
Totally. Yeah.
But I feel a little restricted.
Yeah, at this point, I was just going to say, like, there's things that I would normally have in a profile that are not there. Like, a lot of times I'll use a soft shaper just to kind of, after the amp, that's not there.
Sure.
Or you use a lot of EQs, like cut them.
Sometimes I'll use an EQ,
that kind of thing. So those would have to take up one of your, delay or reverb after the amp.
If we were using it as an all-in-one.
Yeah.
Right? You and me had talked earlier, and it's like, if the way you would probably use this is pretty much just the amp.
Very minimal, yeah.
Yeah, like that's how you use the Tone X.
Yeah, so on the board, like, I have a compressor, I have a tube screamer, I have delay and reverb, so it's like...
So you're kind of not like going to miss this stuff. It's like maybe you'll have something in here just for fun. Maybe there's a button that you'll throw in a chorus or something funny, maybe a down tune effect, but...
Well, yeah. All of the effects that, are on it that I could bring in on something, but yeah.
But you've got everything you need kind of on the board already. You would run it just as a, like, amp in a box.
Almost just like the Tone X. I don't really manipulate the Tone X much.
I'm kind of thinking of running this more as amp and delay and reverb, and then having everything else on the board.
Are you thinking you're going to run some delays on those A and B spots before the amp?
Actually, that's the thing, as I probably will end up running a delay in front as well to do more of the lively dotted eighth thing, and then run my main stuff in the back, and then maybe I'll have some other options. Okay. On to something that I think a lot of people want to know about. This rig manager looks a little different. And so it looks familiar, but different, right? This system control right here really lets you set this up any way you want. I've already changed it. I've already made this number 2 my tap tempo. Yeah. Because to me, I want to be able to run between, let's say, rig number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my normal performance. Okay. Not what I have built here, but say I put my normal performance in. And I can actually, by hitting this button right here, I can rig through 1 through 5. So I can get to rig 1, rig 2, rig 3, rig 4, rig 5. Yeah. Now normally on a Kemper, on the big Kempers, that's one button press just to get to 3. I don't mind hitting it twice. See, I can hit it twice. It's pretty responsive. If I do it too fast, I can be a little too fast for it. Yeah. But you can easily see here that you can kind of get to all of them. So if you want all 5 sounds and you want to take out your rigs from an existing performance, that'll be there. You and me talked about earlier, we now have to take out all the rigs from the Worship 100 and deliver them also as separate rigs, which we'll do. And I'll do that for the Eddie Van Halen stuff, and I'll do that for the Slash stuff, so that you can use it on this unit. It's just loading it up is going to be just a little different, but it will function. Yeah.
And so it's just to be like ultra clear. So like that blue bank that you're on, so that has 5 slots. And and those would all be the 5 slots of your one performance.
Yes. Yeah, okay. And that's kind of like the slots of one performance. But again, you can't just dump a performance in.
You got to separate them out.
Yeah.
So the biggest bummer, I guess, in that sense, is going from like you're on 5 and you want to go to 1 real quick. It's not just like on the stage where you can just jump. You got,
You actually, well, yeah.
and there are slot buttons, right? I mean,
Yes.
you could make one of those be slot 5 all the time. If
Yes.
You wanted.
Yeah. So you can assign this to anything. So here is the tap tempo. I assigned it to tap tempo. You also can make it effects button, rig up, rig next, rig previous. That's what 1 and 2 are right now. So if you see, I'm banking up.
Right.
And I'm banking down. So number 2, so I have 1 and 3 as rig previous and rig next. I can come in here and I could just make it.
You could make that slot 5 and it would always be your ambient.
Yes,
one
yes, exactly. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Now the other thing we can do is, you see these colors up here. This is bank 1, this is bank 2, this is bank 3. If you had all your songs in order, you can use the rig up. Once you're at 5, you can just go to the next one. You'll actually keep going and banking up.
Now you're on the next song. Yeah, it's actually really flexible, I think, in the way that they've given you basically 5, let's call it 5 buttons. The 3 buttons and then the 2 combos.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And you can set those up to be however you want. Yeah, I think it's really flexible.
Yeah. You would probably set this up to be maybe 3 amps.
Yeah, I mean, I was either the effects thing we just talked about, like having, tremolo or like chorus or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's like we were talking to John too, as well. Like, how many slots are we actually using in a performance? I mean, I could easily get by with 3.
I can get by with 3 as well, and that's what I was going to do, but then I realized I don't have a tap tempo.
Yeah.
So then it kind of forces me into rig up down, and then once I'm thinking that way, it makes me go, oh, actually, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
I'm not,
And I mean, we should say that this also has a like an expression in, so you could put a tap tempo, or you could put another pedal. Those little sidecar, like the Kemper switch.
Yeah. I just ordered a Kemper switch for that reason.
It opens up even more possibility of sending more, I guess, programming into it.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got some work ahead of you if you bought this unit and you want to build out some sounds. Maybe even if there's sounds you already have, you kind of have to bring it in and arrange it. I mean, you've kind of got to like rebuild performances or how you want them to operate.
Yeah, player versions of them.
Yeah, and look, maybe you've got songs 1, 2, and 3, and you can make this bank down, and you can make this bank up, and you can see I'm going to hit this 3 here, and boom, it's going to jump to yellow.
Okay.
Red, and maybe you'd want bank up, and then you want 2 rigs. So you've got your choice. Like, you got 2 rigs for the song, clean and dirty. I don't know. I wouldn't set the Kemper up that way.
Yeah.
But some people might.
Yeah.
It might be worth it. Like we were saying, like you get that external switch, and maybe you make those the banks.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have these combos be the on and off. We've got all the stuff. Noise gate. We've got the output. This was some interesting stuff in here. You and me were talking about this. You actually have. So it's interesting. The main outs on here is a mono XLR. That's it. You'll notice that you cannot go to master stereo.
Okay.
So the quote unquote main out is the XLR in mono. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that interesting? That's not really what you would send to front of house unless you want to go mono front of house. You kind of have to make a choice. If you want to use the XLR, you're going to be in mono. If you want to go stereo out of the pedal, then you're going to have to say, okay, well then this unit doesn't have an XLR. Because my monitor outs, I can put in stereo. So I do have the option to go stereo. But those are going to be those are going to be 1/4 inches.
Maybe the one way they're thinking of it is like the 1/4 inches obviously are meant to live on a pedal board. It's meant to go into
Yes, it's meant to go into the next pedal, the next pedal. And that is a way to think about it. If you're using it maybe how I'm going to use it, which is I am going to utilize these delays and reverbs as my main delay and reverb, I would just be in the same boat that I'd be in with any of the other units really that are like the Tone X or the UA stuff. I'd need to get some direct boxes.
Yeah.
I'd need to go buy a Daiso or a Canvas or whatever.
Like I've been running my board with the amp in the center of the board, not the ends, so it doesn't even matter. I'm coming out of the Big Sky as my last pedal.
If you're going to put pedals after this, the monitor, that's kind of the way to go. But it's just interesting to note, you will be using the monitor out.
Yeah, they seem flip-flop to me. Like that XLR seems like it would be the monitor out.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I agree. Now, what is cool about this, though, too, is we get the Pure Cab, and here's the Kemper cone, and we actually can enable and disable this for, all of this stuff. So you have the option to go into a Kemper cab and still get the sweetening control, which is very nice. You still can get, if you go cabinet off, and then you come back up here to this monitor out, cabinet off, this would still allow you, I believe, to go into the rest of your pedals and then out of those pedals into a Kemper cone, with a Kemper cab. And your Kemper cone control here that you've just turned on for the accuracy will work through a delay, through a reverb. It's an EQ correction that calibrates to the speaker. So even if you put a reverb in between there, you're still fine accuracy-wise. A verb and delay doesn't really know what it's verbing and delaying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just
You can put those sort of before or after the speaker, and you're not going to get a ton of difference, if any, in this case. But you still have then the ability to come up here. You'll notice there is no cabinet off for the mains. You still can run your main XLR out to a soundboard, and you'd be using whatever cabinet is built into the rig itself. So that functionality that only Kemper has, which I'm just noting this because I think this is a unique thing they offer. I can tell my unit what speaker I want to hear, which may be different than a speaker I'm sending to the front of house. And they have a cabinet for that.
Yeah.
You can still do that with this little pedal. So it still pairs kind of perfectly with a Kemper cone, a Kemper, like a powered cab. Even though it's this little guy, and you have your little cone button too. You can turn it on and off right there.
Okay.
So I'm doing it in the software too, but you can turn it on and off right there.
That's cool.
And then your main out still sends the normal thing you want to the front of house, but you on stage have stage volume.
Gotcha.
For you and me, we don't do
You don't always split, the signal, but...
But, there's a lot of cover bands, bar bands, rock bands. You need some stage volume.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's what you do. So there's a lot of options here. A lot of options here. I don't even want to get into the rest of this stuff without, reading a little more about it. But also I got my rig, my rig stuff. I still have transpose. I still have all the independent volume and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of normal.
It definitely has its limitations. I can already feel those on not having the mouse, overdrive, or not having certain delays. Or
it doesn't have the mouse overdrive either.
Or the fuzz, or all
is
these
the fuzz in
different-
here?
No, it's got green screen.
You're right. No Kemper fuzz.
Kemper drive, if you like
No
that.
Kemper drive. Yeah.
I bet I could make the delays and reverbs work, even though I do like the newer stuff. The legacy ones were great when that's all we had.
Yeah, honestly, I was very happy with the legacy stuff. And then we got more stuff. And I even went back at one point and looked at an old performance I was using, and I thought it just sounded so great. And then I even looked at it and realized I had pulled up a version that had the legacy hall. And I never noticed. I just thought it sounded great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm still using this is a legacy hall. So I'd be happy there, but the delays I do like, some of the other delays.
Right, yeah.
I'm stoked about this thing. I really am. I think it's a little bit of it's not quite take it out and like the Kemper stage was take it out of the box, load up your stuff, there you go. It's a flat Kemper.
Yeah.
This is a little brother.
That's true. It's one of a kind, yeah.
Yeah.
The toaster, the rack, the stage, no difference in terms of how they load stuff, play stuff. Everything's the same, it's just hardware is different. This is the first step towards, this is not the same Kemper we're used to. You can't even load the same...
It's different.
Performances, or the effects are missing or whatever. So that's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, I think, is you got to make it work for the player that doesn't work for these three other units.
Yes. And maybe that's probably really because it's meant to be sort of integrated into a rig.
Yeah.
And so the way it functions maybe has some of that rig in mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not meant to function all in one. So why would you drop all your performances on it? Susan, I'm going to let you play us out.
Right.
And here's a little, try that.
Which one is this? The AC44?
AC44, and I'm not even going to tell you kind of what I'm putting on here.
Oh, exciting.
I'm just putting on stuff, and I'm sure it's going to be great. And, there's an echo verb. I've been HW.
I've been the Suze.
And there you go.
I wish that last chord was in tune.